There's a lot to talk about here, John, as we get to Toto Wolff, team principal, CEO of Mercedes. But, John, the real issue here to me, and we're going to do a little bit more spanner and sys bar. I was reading about the sys bar.
Okay.
Folks, the side impact bar is very, very important for all these different cars.
I look forward to you flexing your knowledge on this.
Yeah, thank you.
All
This
right.
is more of an engineering discussion.
I think you're looking at it.
Maybe what we've had
I hope
before.
Toto's not running away from the camera. He joins us now, Toto Wolff, team principal and CEO of Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula One. Toto, fantastic to catch up with you, sir. Let's just start with this new racetrack. We've spoken to a couple of people about it already. What kind of feedback, Toto, are you getting from the drivers on the simulator going into race weekend?
Yeah, first of all, good morning. Good morning to New York. We can also talk side impact structures if you wish, but I think you're gonna lose some of your audiences.
Yeah, I'm skilled at that.
Yeah, we can jump on a separate call, I'll tell you. So the drivers have been in the simulator, and I spoke to Lewis last week when we had a meeting in the factory, and he said the straight is so long and impressive, but we don't really know what to expect because, as you mentioned before, we're racing between 10 and 12 local time. Nevada nights, I've heard, can be pretty cold, and the only night racing experience that we have is Singapore and a little bit of the Middle East, but obviously never on a new track close to 5 degrees centigrade with Pirelli tires that have never experienced these kind of temperatures.
It does raise some questions as to why it's being hosted at this time of the year, at this time of night. Toto, how did that come about, and would you push for a change next season?
Well, obviously, Las Vegas stands for entertainment and show, and Liberty came up with the plan, which is great, to be honest. We've not raced in Las Vegas for a long time, certainly not in modern Formula One, and going there with this new format in the night, it's going to be spectacular. I think it's been said before, the track is brand new. That means the surface can be quite greasy or oily, because that's what asphalt does when it's new. We haven't raced in those temperatures, as I said before, but in any case, it's going to be a big spectacle. I don't know whether we will be sliding around or whether the track is going to be really grippy, but we shall find out in a few days.
We've been talking about qualifying and the prospect of maybe needing to do 2-3 laps to get tyres up to optimal temperature to put in that quickest lap. Toto, any thoughts on that at this point?
Yeah, we've had it in the past that sometimes you just needed to slowly warm up the tires, because if you push them too hard at the beginning, they grain, then you slide over the surface, the grip is never going to come. So bringing them in, driving them carefully, getting them up to temperature, and that could last a few laps, depending, and we're getting a little bit technical here, depending on how much you heat your rims and your brakes beforehand. And teams have various concepts. They either want to have the front tires pretty cool and long-lasting, or you heat them a lot, which gives you a grip for a single lap for qualifying, but obviously harms them for the race.
It could be chaos, or it could be really exciting, one or the other. It goes to a conversation we've been having all season on this program, Toto, just how you balance pursuing commercial gains without compromising race quality. What do you make of the current balance of Formula One?
I think we had that balance, to cope with that balance for a long time. And I think why we love the sport so much is because it's honest. Entertainment follows sport. We're not designing regulations or content because we want to create scripted content with a certain outcome, with a certain degree of non-variability. We're doing this, we're launching ourselves. There's technical regulations, there's sporting regulations, and then off you go. Within a certain framework of cost cap, which is similar to the salary cap in some of the US leagues, everybody has the same starting point. And then we launch ourselves into this. So it's honest. The stopwatch never lies, and therefore the entertainments follow suit.
And yet we go through these periods of dominance. We saw it with Ferrari, late 90s, early 2000s. We saw it with you, Mercedes, for a long time as well, and now with Red Bull. Sir Lewis has said recently in the last couple of days that Red Bull is so far away, I think they're probably going to be very clear for the next couple of years. From your standpoint as team principal, is that a realistic assessment of the future, the next couple of seasons?
Well, we're giving it all to break a cycle. Like you said, we had 5 years of dominance of Ferrari, then we had a short spell of Red Bull, and then it was us 8 times in a row. And now it's the second constructor championship for Red Bull, or the third driver championship with a indeed very good driver. So we are, with all we have back in the factory and at the racetrack, we're trying to come up with a car and with an execution that is as good as it can be. And we have a next cycle of regulatory change in 2026, but we got to turn this around.
Well, for this race, and I think Toto Wolff, it's very clear. There's 3 races left: Las Vegas, and then back over to the Middle East, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. Are you racing right now for next year?
Yes, we have done for quite some while. We're still fighting for the second championship in the constructor championship. We are second at the moment, and Ferrari behind us, so that's an interesting one. But deep down, second or third place, doesn't matter. We got to, with all humility, fight for the front, and that's why many months ago already we've switched and we transitioned to a new car.
Toto, there's a phenomenal photo of 3 Austrians, Niki Lauda, Toto Wolff, and a guy named Schwarzenegger. It's a really, really cool photo. And to take what Arnold Schwarzenegger did, and all of our American audience removed from F1 understands the tie-in here, when you look at the showbiz of Formula One, the Netflix success of which you're a star, has Formula One gone to showbiz in 2023?
Obviously, there's a few Austrians of us that have gone beyond the country, and Schwarzenegger probably the biggest. And I was lucky enough to be very close friends with Niki. We traveled the world around in his function as chairman of the team, and there were very valuable lessons that I could learn. Did we go beyond the sport, too much entertainment? No, I don't think so. We're trying different formats with the sprint race weekends and or Las Vegas racing in the night. And if it needs calibration to provide a better show whilst staying true to our values of the honest sport, I think we got to try it. But the core product, the Grand Prix on Sunday, within the regulations, financial, technical, and sporting is always what Formula One has been all about.
Let's finish on the prospect of expansion, Toto. I believe you've been against the expansion of the grid. Do you think it's now ultimately inevitable?
I think the 10 teams that have been in the sport have been so for a long, long time. The smaller teams or midfield teams have gone through a lot of hardship a few years ago when COVID struck. But in any case, they fought for survival, and here we are with the cost cap kicking in. Most of the teams have turned into profitability and finally are in a sustainable way in continuing. But that is not a given. We are on a high at the moment, and therefore we got to respect what the FIA and the commercial rights holder are going to decide whether they want to have an additional team joining. And obviously, if we are being asked, we're saying as long as it's a creative for the show, as long as we provide a better entertainment, more income, why would any team be against it? But fundamentally, it's somebody else that decides.
And Toto, it's wonderful to catch up with you, sir, going into race weekend. Good luck to you and the team. I'm looking forward to watching the race over the weekend. Thank you for being with us. Toto Wolff there, team principal and CEO of Mercedes AMG Petronas F1.